key video for Chapter 6, Exponent Rules, Rules of Exponents, Laws of Exponents. So we're going to do these exponent rules. It says simplify your answer. Simplify your answer should contain only positive exponents. So that's really important for you to understand. We can't have negative exponents. So when we look at this, we're always going to deal with their coefficients first. So the coefficients are going to be important for us to deal with in one manner, and then our like bases, our variables that have like bases, meaning it is the same variable, will be really important. So 8 times negative 8. So we have 8 times negative 8 as the constants, and then we have r to the 0 times r to the negative 2. So like bases, or exponents, we have negative 64. So 8 times negative 64. We're just going to multiply it as if we saw those two numbers. Now, when we have like bases, we are going to add their exponents. And so that gets simplified to, now this could be an answer. You might see that in high school. This would be your first stage. And then we have to deal with the fact that it's a negative exponent. So changing that moves the base of that negative exponent, which is r, and we're going to go there. So we get negative 64 over r squared. So either of these would be okay, but this is the answer because of this. Okay, so that's the answer you must give me. You have to deal with it. Negative 64 over r squared. So now we have our next number. Don't know if you can hear all that noise next door. So we have our coefficients are 3 and 1. So 3 m to the negative 4 plus 4. Since we are multiplying like bases, we add their exponents. We get m to the 0. M to the 0 is equal to 1. So we get 3. Coefficients, we only have 1. I mean, there is a 1, but 4 times 1. X to the 0 plus 3. So we get 4x to the third. Negative 5 times 8 is negative 40. We have p to the 4 plus 2, which is p to the 6th. And yes, it can be this easy. It should be this easy. 1 plus 3. Negative 32 m to the 4th. We have 6 times negative 6 times, now they didn't have them aligned. So let's take the x to the second plus negative 1, and then we have y to the 2 plus negative 1. So that's going to be negative 36 x to the first, y to the first. And our answer, our variables must be in alphabetical order. So 4 times 6 times x to the 3 plus 4 times y to the 2 plus 2. 24 x to the 7th, y to the 4th. You have negative 2 times 6 times x to the 4 plus 2, y to the 4th. Negative 12 x to the 6th, y to the 4th. 5 times negative 8 times x to the 1 plus 3 times y to the 3 plus 4. Negative 40 x to the 4th, y to the 7th. Oh, I hope I didn't have any negative exponents. I'm going to go back. Mr. Mac. No, those are all end up being positive, positive, positive. Okay, good. Just want to make sure Mr. Mac didn't make a mistake there. So, oh, this is good. So now we have 3. So we're still going to deal with their coefficients. Coefficients don't affect the variables in any way other than it tells you the item. So it's -3 times 2 times -5. Those are the coefficients. And again, we're going to do u to the -2 plus -3 plus 3. And then we have v, which is -3 plus 0 plus 4. So that's 3 times -3 times -5 is 15 times 2 is 30. U to the -2, because -3 plus 3, and then v to the 1. We would never write 1. We're not going to write v to the 1. We leave it as that. And now we have to deal with the positive exponents. So we have to deal with that. So this becomes 30v. And then if we move the u, you get u squared. So here we have a coefficient of -1. And so we're just going to make that -4. We're going to take that negative and move it up. We have n to the 4 minus -3. So when we have division, it's going to be, that's going to represent this minus. That division represents, and then this -3 represents this. So we subtract the exponents when we divide like bases. So that simplifies to -4n to the 1. Because, oh, sorry, n to the 7th, hello. 4 minus -3 is 4 plus 3, which makes -4n to the 7th. We're going to deal with the coefficients, which equals -1. And then we have x to the -3 minus 4, which equals -x to the -7th. That -1 can be written as just the negative sign. And now we have to deal with the -7 exponent, sorry. -1, and then we get x to the 7th. So notice this negative, the coefficient stays in the numerator. And then the base of the exponent, the negative exponent, is going to be the thing that will move. And that is the base of it, hence why that is the only thing that moves. The -1 stays up in the numerator. And so this is your answer. You could also, if you want to write 1 over -x to the 7th, that's okay. No parentheses needed because it's outside of it. So this equals 2/3, and then we have x to the 0 minus 4, which equals 2/3 x to the -4, and then we have 2 over 3x to the 4th. So I just moved that, got rid of the negative exponent by putting in the denominator with the 3. I tend not to write fractions like that when we have other variables. So be careful of that. Here's that negative again. We have x to the 3 minus -3. And all I did was move this negative up because it's not quantity of. So that gives me -8x to the 6th. 7 over 7 equals 1. N to the -4 minus -4, which equals n to the 0, which equals 1. Let's look at this. I mean, just looking at this problem, you should notice that those are identical. So anything over itself is going to equal 1. So that's a pretty straightforward problem also. That -3 in the denominator doesn't have anything. X to the 3rd, and then we have y to the -1 minus 0. X to the 3rd, y to the -1 over -3. We're going to get rid of this negative exponent here. By moving it, we get x to the 3rd over -3y would be my final answer. So we have 2u to the -1, oops, sorry, -2. Got that negative there. Moved it up, u to the -1 minus 3. v to the 0. That's going to give me negative 2 u to the negative 4 times 1. This equals 1. And then I'm going to move that into the denominator. And we have to just move the base of that exponent. The negative 2 stays in the numerator. Why do they keep doing this? Okay, negative 2, x to the 3 minus negative 1, y to the negative 2. Negative 2, x to the 4, y to the negative 2. We got to get rid of that negative exponent. Negative 2x to the 4th over y to the 2nd. So now we have 6 over 2, which equals 3. We have x to the 2 minus negative 4 over y to the negative 1. Ooh, I like this already. This gives you 3x to the 6 over y to the negative 1. I have to get rid of that negative exponent, so that's going to go into the numerator. So we get 3x to the 6th y. We have negative 5 over negative 4, which is 5/4. My y to the negative 3 and x to the 3rd don't have any partners. So I got to deal with this negative, and that's going to have to move. So that's going to give me 5 over 4x to the 3rd, y to the 3rd. Alphabetical order for those variables. Now we have an exponent outside, so I'm going to do negative 3, and this distributes to the 4, so that's, and then we're going to distribute the k squared to the 4 also. So negative 3, quantity of negative 3 to the 4th is positive 81, and then we have k to the 8th. 2 times 4. We're going to distribute. We have 4 to the negative 3 times n to the negative 4 times negative 3, which is 4 to the negative 3rd. Well, we have to change that to 1 over 4 to the 3rd times n to the 12th. Negative 4 times negative 3 is 12. And so n to the 12th stays in the numerator. 4 to the 3rd is going to give me 64. We have distributing, so we need that quantity there, a to the 3 times 3, which is negative, 7 to the 3rd. 7 cubed, 343. So 343, and it's negative because we have 3 negatives multiplying each other, which would keep it as a negative. We're going to distribute, which is negative 3 to the 4th, a to the 3 times 4, which is going to give me positive 81 again. That's too bad it's similar. A to the 12th. And we have this quantity of negative 5 to the 4th, v to the 2nd times 4, which is 625, right? 25 times 25. I think 25 squared, 625. And then we have v to the 8th. And I think we're getting close. Ooh, this is good. Now we have 3 things that we have to distribute it to. A to the negative 4 and b to the negative 1 times negative 4. So this is going to be 1 over quantity of negative 3 to the 4th. This is going to be 1 over a to the 4th. And this is going to be b to the positive 4 in the numerator. So this is 1 over positive 81. That's still 1 over a to the 4th. And this is still b to the, what did I say, 4th? Is that right? Yeah, b to the 4th. So now we'll put it all under. So b to the 4th over 81a to the 4th would be my final answer. We're going to we can distribute. So we have the quantity of negative 4 to the 0 times y to the 3 times 0. That's going to be 1. That's going to be 3 to the 0, or y to the 0, which is 1 times 1, which equals 1. And we should know it is 1 because we have the quantity to a 0 power, which equals 1. So we can jump. That's the number sense right there. We'll distribute to each of them 2 to the negative 2, u to the negative 2 times negative 2, v to the negative 4 times negative 2. So 2 to the negative 2 is 1 over 2 to the second. That's u to the positive 4, and this is v to the negative 8. So I got to change that. That's 1 over 4, u to the 4th, and 1 over v to the 8th. So we'll keep the things in the numerator, things in the denominator in the denominator. We are going to distribute to each of those. We have the quantity of negative 4 to the 4th, u to the 4th times 4, and v to the 3rd times 4. That is 16 times 16, 256? 256? 256. Let's go, Mr. Mac. U to the 16th, v to the 12th. So everything's in the numerator. We're going to distribute. This one seems nice and easy compared to squared 3 times 2, which is 16v to the 6th. Is that the last one? Oh, that was so nice. Good. All right. This should be pretty straightforward assessment. I think you're very well prepared for this. Good luck. Watch out for the small little details.